Now, it may have only been the fifth game, but Argentina's 2-1 defeat to Saudi Arabia yesterday will certainly be the biggest shock, will it, in the tournament, potentially in World Cup history. Let's get more reaction to that now. Let's head live to Buenos Aires. Delighted to say we can speak to the Argentinian football journalist Marcela Mora y Araujo. Hope I pronounced that right. Did I do well?
Really? Very, very good. I am already stunned.
That language app I do every day is paying miracles. Thank you for joining us this morning. First of all, what has been the reaction back in Argentina to that result?
Well, the immediate reaction yesterday morning was quite interesting because it was one of enormous sadness and surprise, but there was no, none of that angry, vitriolic, accusatory kind of football fan demand that something should have been done differently or some other player should have been played or some positions should have been tackled differently. It was a really strange mix of shock and sadness, and that was kind of echoed in the streets and the people, in the fans, but also in the kind of pundits from Qatar and even the press. You know, usually when Argentina has a dismal performance, the press really lash out. But for the few hours immediately after, it seemed that there was no anger. And then I have to say the other match in the group, when that was a draw and that kind of sparkled hope again, everybody kind of went, so we've still got a chance. It's really interesting looking at, having a few hours pass and people filing copy and experts looking. There is still no blame and no anger and a lot of hope. It was like a sobering dose of realism. I think I can't express enough quite how hyped this team were before the World Cup started and how confident Argentina was that we were starting a process. We were going to win the World Cup. We weren't going to start the World Cup or play the World Cup. We were going to win the World Cup. And this morning we're slightly back on track with that. So there's quotes from the Saudi Arabia manager saying Argentina are going to win the World Cup, and this has come back, and a lot of very detailed analysis in many of the papers here of the VAR decision, especially the kind of more contentious VAR decision that said Lautaro Martinez was offside, because it does seem to be like maybe just his ear was offside or something. But so we're now getting back to the kind of cold tactical analysis, but still very much from a point of Argentina did nothing wrong. And I believe they didn't. I think it was, Saudi Arabia just were better at using their opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't hype, was it, going into this one? There was an incredible unbeaten run, the Copa as well thrown in on top of that. But I guess Argentinian fans will be looking at 1990 and that defeat to Cameroon, although Argentina would go on to the final in that tournament. But that was one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history. Does Saudi Arabia eclipse that for you?
Yeah, I think it does. So a lot of looks at Argentina's bad start in World Cups. I think we've had 5 quite dismal ones. Where the first game was a defeat. 1990 is the most apt comparison, I think. It's the most recent, and it was a goal by a country that we hadn't rated or didn't know very much about and didn't consider to be an amazing, threat. And I think a little bit of that happened with Saudi Arabia as well. Perhaps, that we underestimated quite how good they were. Interestingly, apparently 9 players from the Saudi Arabia team yesterday are actually in the same club managed by Ramon Diaz, who is a controversial figure in Argentinian football. He was the manager of River Plate for many years, and he's so suddenly again, there was just quite this nice joke going on. Like, it's one thing to lose to Saudi Arabia, but to lose to Ramon Diaz. The other thing that's good about 1990 is that, as you say, we then went on. I say we, obviously I wasn't playing, but, you know, I'm drawn into this kind of frenzied national fervour, whatever that might be. Argentina went on to reach the final. And so it's the thing that, we're clinging on to is, look, you can have a really bad first game, but then you can actually end up playing all the games in the tournament, in the cup. And in terms of whether it's hype or not, of course, I think the squad is really, really good. And obviously Messi's record is not to be questioned in any way. He is one of the, if not the best player in the world at the moment, and has been throughout his career. There was a huge expectation that he should deliver something for Argentina that just wasn't materializing for many years, but he did so well anyway, reaching finals, World Cup final, Copa America final. So the Copa America win last year would just put an end to that debate, as it were. And it seems to now be in a really good place. Like, there is not that pressure that he must deliver something. And I think even if they don't win the World Cup, that kind of debt has been settled, and that there is no pending assignment. So in a way, we were hoping that would lead to them being able to enjoy the game, which has been their discourse, enjoy playing, and it all being quite relaxed and lovely. I think that opening match yesterday just shows that, no, you must never relax, and it's always about the next game, and you're just, as good as your last performance. But there is hype as well, and it's very difficult to convey, but like, everything is World Cup themed. Yesterday the match here was at 7 a.m. Schools allowed kids to either come in half an hour after the game finished or come in half an hour before and watch the game at school, but they had to be there half an hour before so you could settle everybody into some kind of position to watch. The government is kind of on hold until after the World Cup. Bills aren't being passed. Most members of parliament have gone back to their provinces or wherever they represent. It's been really World Cup fever. And as I say, with the slogan, we are now going to win the World Cup. So the idea that this whole endeavour might be over by Saturday is quite, no one can quite believe it. And I guess that's why we're all, the references to 1990 and that Cameroon game keep propping up, because that's the way to, keep believing that we might stay in Doha for a few more games.
Marcela, muchas gracias y mucho gusto.
Muchas gracias.